Hello viewers. Today I am sharing with you one of my vehicles, my 2007 Mustang GT500. First off, I want to apologize for the background noise. I am near kind of a busy road and it's a little windy today, so I do apologize for that. I dropped my daughter off at an appointment and thought I have some time to kill, and there's a school nearby, but they are doing pavement work near by that school entrance, and I just was not going to drive this car through where they're paving. No way. So I'm in basically a movie parking lot, and clearly at this morning hour it's not open yet, so I have to kind of lot to myself, and the wind, of course. So I'll talk about my car. I have owned this car for about 10 years now. It essentially sits in the garage. It has 33,000 miles on it. I bought it in 2014 with, let's say, 27,000 miles on it. So it really is a toy. It really doesn't get driven that often. It sits in the garage under a cover with a battery tender on it mainly, and in the wintertime I put stable in the gas tank. Learned that lesson 1 year the hard way. So let's kind of walk around and talk about it. I love these cars. This generation of Mustang. I had a Fox Body 92 Mustang GT convertible for 15 years. I bought that in 1996 and had it for 15 years. To give you some reference, I was 18 years old in 1996. So that car, I had thought, oh, I will never get rid of that car. But then these came out, the 05 body style came out. I fell in love with them right away. I thought that was really kind of the beginning of the first time automakers were kind of bringing back older body styles. And I fell in love with the 05s. And if you recall the 05s, they had the 4.6 carried over from the previous generation, except it was 3-valve, 300 horsepower. Nice car, really nice car. And then, at that time I wasn't in a position to buy one, but I wanted one so badly. Then the rumored Shelby was coming or returning. And at that point, there hadn't been a GT500 in years and years, like a real one, like a Carroll Shelby GT500. So I remember seeing in 05 and 06 like prototype pictures, and I thought, whoa, amazing. So I then thought, I want that car. But at that time, even at that time, which doesn't seem like as much money today, but at that time, these were probably stickering for 50s, in the 50s maybe. Like you could get a Mustang GT back then loaded for like 30 grand, which I thought was a lot of money then. But I think these were like in the 50s, and then dealer markups 20K, all that crazy stuff. So around that time I had a friend who bought one. Here comes the wind. I hope it's not too annoying. Around that time I had a friend who bought one, who was able to swing it. I think that was 2008. He bought a black one, and I think it had stripes on it. I'm just trying to remember the color of the stripes. I want to say they were like a grayish color. He let me drive it, and I was terrified because I knew that they had 500 horsepower. And you're talking about a guy who had a Fox Mustang with factory 225 horsepower. Yeah, I didn't want to. He might have had 300 horsepower when it was done. But I remember like being blown away how refined these are, again at that time, compared to the Fox bodies and predecessors. And I thought, how could something with this much horsepower be this tame and docile when you want it to be? It doesn't need you to drive it hard. So I drove it and I fell in love, and he let me get on it a little bit, and I was still very reluctant, but it just confirmed everything I felt. So fast forward to kind of like beginning of 2014, I had sold the Fox Body in 2011 or so, something like that, and I was saving my money. I had bought a house and did all that stuff, and then I got to the point where these were starting to come down in price, still expensive. So I was looking online, and I always wanted this color combination, this color blue, the white. And I came across something after looking for months and months and months, and finally, the day after Christmas in 2014, or Christmas Day even, I get an alert, place down in New Jersey, and they kind of like specialize in selling like secondhand cars like this, whether the Challengers, Camaros, even like BMWs and like Escalades, really cool stuff. So they brought it down in price, which fell into my budget, and I thought, oh, so the day after Christmas I drove down there and bought it. And I was just, it was crazy to me how fast everything happened, but the guy said, hey, it's Christmas week, we don't sell a lot of cars, we just wanted to see what would happen. So I bought it, brought it home. That was the furthest I've ever driven it. I don't drive it far. I may drive it these days furthest maybe 20 miles a shot, and then back home or so. So for the most part, for a number of years, it kind of stayed factory stock. And I wanted to, I know people do wheels and they do a lot of stuff, but I wanted to keep it true to itself of 2007. And so initially I did a little bit of work. I changed the pulley, had it retuned, and I forget what I think I did the mass air upgrade at that time. And this was probably like 7 years ago. So I did that at a Ford place in Rhode Island. And that was probably the kind of like a far drive at that time. It was like 45-minute hour drive, and drove it there, sat there with it for the day, and drove it home. And then fast forward to about, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, I hadn't driven it. It was like coming out of the winter time, and I do start it a few times in the winter and run it, but I don't drive it. So then I had an issue with bad gas. So it's kind of like the excuse I need to take it in to get work done. So at that time, I full exhaust all the way through, Borla exhaust, high flow X-pipe, headers, tuned it again. What else did I do? See, we talked about the pulley already. Oh, converted over to the forced air intake. Instead of having an air box, you have the open conical filter, and all of that. And it rips, and it dynoed close to 600 at that point, and I feel like I am absolutely missing. Oh yeah, I upgraded the radiator, I upgraded the electric fan. In fact, the electric fan's annoying because did all that because I just talking through my guy that I took it to, thanks to the Facebook groups, found a guy fairly local who like, this is what they do, like this is exactly what they do. So it was just really cool. Now I got a truck coming through the parking lot, so I apologize. So it's just awesome. And then I think it was last year I did the tint windows, and even when I pull it out of the garage to like work on something else in the garage, I throw the cover on it. Like I have an indoor cover and outdoor cover. I throw the outdoor cover on it because I don't like the sun on it. And just even when I take it out, aside from I think the tint with the blue looks really cool. I typically tint most of my cars. It also makes a huge difference on the interior. Again, but it doesn't see a lot of just pure beating sunlight. I used to work locally, and occasionally on Fridays I would take it to work, but the only thing I didn't like about that is, of course, you only take it on a nice day, but then it sits out in the hot sun all day. So let's kind of walk around it a little bit, because that's the backstory. I did actually replace the wheels, come to think of it. So for whatever reason, there was road rash on these wheels. Not like a hit a curb, like not chipped, but it was just like worn. And I don't know if the place I had it, like it had aftermarket wheels, and they just slapped on, or maybe the original owner had aftermarket wheels, and they slapped the stock wheels back on when they sold it. So there's a company out there called Factory Wheel Replacement, something along those lines, and you can basically get anything. So I went factory, and I know I might get ripped in the comments, and there are some really cool looking wheels out there. I mean, it's all taste, right? But I wanted to keep this thing factory kind of looking, and just kind of do some mild upgrades under the hood. I guess, speaking of upgrades, the one thing that wavers on me is, do I change the supercharger on it? Do I do that? I mean, that's a major investment, but it would put this thing in a stratosphere in terms of being fast, and it is a toy. So, obviously the paint's original. I typically only wash it once a year, unless I get something weird happens, like I get stuck under a tree or it's weird. I don't intentionally drive. I don't drive it in the rain. There's been times where, like, you know, they'll say, oh, it's 20% chance of a passing shower, and you're like, okay, there's a 20% chance of a passing shower for like 1 hour, and then of course, like, that's what I get caught in. So there's a few minor, like, times I've got caught in the rain a little bit. So you can see the Borla poking out. And I think it's tastefully done, like it doesn't look out of control. And that's, call me old. You know, I'm in my 40s. I've done my Fox Mustang. You know, I made it as loud as could be, or pretty much could be. And I'm sorry if the camera's not doing a great job because of the sun. You know, so I did all the kind of the crazy stuff to make it loud and with my Fox, but this sounds good, but at the end of the day, if you have it out for the day, you're not like screaming to put it away because your head's ringing because of the exhaust is so loud. You will notice this little chrome bezel around. That was the previous owner. I bought it that way. I don't like that. I should pop that off. I believe that down there is not factory either. And if your eyes are sharp, you noticed on the other side there's not one there. It must have fallen off, but I should really pop that off. Again, I don't drive it much at all, but I do love this car. It's when months go by and I don't drive it, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and it almost becomes like an annoyance in the garage, right? But when you take it out, it's just so much fun. My kids like it. We take it. I take it to car shows, not car shows where you have to pay to get in and all that. It's more like the cruise-ins or whatever they call those, where you just pull up, you pull in, and there's music, there's food, and you hang out. You kind of get to know the regulars a little bit. Maybe you bring some dinner with you, like some sandwiches, and chill out, or yeah, and then you leave when you want. So I do those kinds of things with it. I haven't done it yet this year. In fact, I took this, had it out for about a half hour yesterday, and that was the most all year. Again, I had to drop my daughter at an appointment, and I thought, hey, let's just take it out again. So these are meant to be enjoyed in my mind, not beat on, but enjoyed. Like, I won't take it on like a weekend road trip or anything like that, but plus, God help me, I just so used to like SUVs and bigger cars, and I'll get to those at some point with my videos. And yeah, my camera work might be a little weird, and maybe because I'm putting this on YouTube, I'm trying to avoid the license plate. I don't know if it really even freaking matters, but so here's what it is. I can pop the hood. I'll give you a shot at the inside, then we'll pop the hood. So the inside's really stock. Aside from, I don't know about the shift knob, because everything you see here is how I got it. And you know, I'm not sure how the lighting is working with the camera. It's almost like making it look like a lighter color when I look through the camera, but maybe you see through it differently. Because I'm kind of it's an overcast day, but the sun's still kind of coming through. The shifter and that chrome bezel around it, I think that's aftermarket. And there used to be on the door handle like a chrome bezel around there. Like I took that off. Like the previous owner had it, and it was just annoying. So this is it. I know in 07 you could get the screen or the I don't know if it's like the GPS or whatever on the stereo. This one didn't have that option. I really don't care. You know, factory stereos, even then, as they were getting better from predecessor cars, they still weren't that great. Like my Jeep and my Suburban, like stock stereos are way better than this, but just kind of leaving everything as is. So I'm going to pop the hood. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. I like the chrome pedals, pretty cool. Just bear with me while I do this. So I do it one-handed. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to put the hood. So here it is. Again, this stuff, I bought the car with it. These caps, I actually don't mind those. They're getting a little dirtier. So, the pulleys, air filter, mass air sensor changed, and then went with the bigger radiator and the fans. I don't know if you can see the fan in there. I'm trying to get down in there. It's loud. This thing throws off a lot of heat though. It sure does. But I have to, it's kind of annual detail, if you will. And again, I'm in the sun and I'm not sure if I'm doing this any justice at all. But as I think I started to say earlier, I typically wash it only once a year when pollen season is done. And if I take it out during pollen season, and it's June right now as I'm recording this, pollen where I live, sadly, because the summers are so short here and I hate it, and I'll go on record saying that, I hate that, and pollen season ends like some point in June. So I do wash it, because when I do take it out in the spring a little bit, even if you sit in the parking lot for a little bit, you get pollen on it. And I have a California duster and I have spray detail that I use all the time. So I do a once a year actual wash and then a coat of wax, which might be at this point too much. And then I don't usually wash it again. And I do apologize if I kind of talked about that already. I just use the spray mist Meguiar's detailer to just wipe it down. If I take it out for the day, I wipe it down, wipe the wheels down to get the brake dust off, and really call it kind of it, and it stays really clean. So it sees little to no water. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's worth kind of showing here. Oh, I can pop the trunk. Not that that's too exciting. We don't buy Shelbys for trunk space. But what I wanted to show you is, well, here's the outdoor cover. It's not what I wanted to show. It came with this floor mat. Don't know if that's factory, but it's pretty cool. And you can see the lines a little bit from when I use carpet cleaner. I do that once a year as well. The factory sub, that's a little less to be desired. It's okay. And then truck circling me in the parking lot. I think they think like something's going on. So Irish Spring, and I have Irish Spring in here because I understand it repels mice. I don't have a mouse problem, and I'm not going to have a mouse problem. So I just keep that in there. Never seen, knock on wood, a sign of mice in my, you can see the sun reflecting, in my garage, but don't want to have that issue. So here it is, and it's Blue Glory. Like I said, I love this car. I think the only thing that only time I've really ever thought about kind of making a change is with a Challenger. One of the reasons I love this car is because of its retro squared lines. It's just awesome, and that's why I like Challengers as well. I like the newest Challengers. Obviously, they don't make them anymore. They're going electric. You know, I won't get into that either way. But Challengers, I think, hold also a classic styling. I know they're bigger, they're heavier, all that stuff, but at this point, I like the combination of muscle and, you know, just tradition in terms of the looks. So I know my channel's been a lot of dedication to like fans and other types of things, but I do have some other vehicles. This is the coolest by far, but I have some other vehicles that I am proud of in a different way, I guess you could say. Some of them are daily drivers, some of them are, one of them is not, another one is not, but it is not a muscle car or a sports car. It is a very large car. You might have seen it in the background of some of my videos. I did do a video on my Jeep Grand Cherokee, the white one, my work car, so that kind of has a story behind it as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. You guys, for those of you who have these cars, like to hear what you've done to them. Have you kept them kind of mild, or have you gone crazy with them? Have you regretted it? Is it kind of like they say getting a tattoo? You get one, you gotta just get addicted, have to make it faster and faster and faster. Want to hear from you guys, as well as people who have other cars. Like, I love all cars, I don't discriminate. So start the conversation. Make sure you comment, subscribe, like, and we'll see you on the next one.